Meeting to order. Joe, you got something over here you wanna,
What's
Is
that?
that-
Sorry?
you got something you wanted to do
Yes,
before we get started?
so Commissioner Rollo. I'd like to share a personal story that had a huge effect on me. Matt, this is Matt Bauer. We run the community work program. I'm Troy Shavit. Matt and I were setting up a tent in Rollinsford for a Democratic event at Mrs. Perry's house. Just as we were beginning, you had started walking down the driveway, and you and Matt had began discussing some of the details of the event. And I don't think you would see me. I was walking by, and I had heard you mention my name and say that I was a hard worker. Those words stuck with me. Sorry. Those words that stuck with me, and eventually they gave me motivation, and the program got recognized by, well, sorry guys, not a great public speaker. We got recognized by Volunteer NH, and we ended up receiving the Spirit of New Hampshire Award, and we'd like to dedicate the award to you. On behalf of Strafford County, the community work program, and the county complex, we'd like to thank you for seven years of dedication and contributions, and the impact you've had on this county.
Thank you
You're very well.
so much. Thank you. So proud of you there. Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for everything you did, Strafford County.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate that. It's
Yeah.
great. Wow, thanks. Wasn't expecting
Yeah. Yeah.
it. I remember the day.
All right.
Kids.
Jay's gonna take the liberty of skipping item 1 and 2 and go right directly to item 3 on our agenda, which is to meet with Community Power Coalition in Hampshire to discuss, explore, and establishing a Strafford County Community Power Program. So, Bill, thanks for coming in. You get quite a crew here.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm Bill Daver.
Right.
I think everybody knows me. I'm chair of Dover's Energy Commission. We're Dover's Electric Aggregation Committee for Community Power, and I chair the Legislative Regulatory Affairs Committee for CPCNH. But I'm here just because I think CPCNH can offer a lot of value to the county and the communities of the county. And I just want to introduce Henry Hernan, who's the Director of
Member Services.
Member Services, and Jackson Kaspari, former of Resilience Director, Manager of
The city of Dover.
City of Dover, but I'm sure I remember what you're.
Right, we met.
Yes, yeah, good to see you, Commissioner Roberts. Yeah, so now I'm the Community Energy Advisor with the Community Power Coalition in New Hampshire.
Oh,
And Madeline Bradley is also with the Community Services, but, so I'm turning it over to Henry, who's, can walk you through this.
all right.
Sure, and I see there's a printout there, but Matt, I don't know if you just wouldn't mind maybe passing those around the table. Yeah, thanks for the invitation to have us down. We're pleased to
Thank you.
join Strafford County and have a conversation about what a Strafford County Community Power Program might look like if you're interested in that, and just provide some context on sort of the status of this market for the state and some of the benefits it could provide to electric accounts, residents, businesses throughout the county. So we have, there's a presentation material. I'm happy to walk through this. A fair amount of it may be background, but would that be appropriate for the commissioners?
Sure.
So I can walk through some of these slides and then may look to Madeline and Jackson to chime in, and then we can maybe just have a conversation and answer any questions you may have. Before diving right into this, I'll note that it's a relatively recent market in the state, but it has been growing very quickly and maturing. So there are 2 active county community power programs, Merrimack County and Cheshire County, and there are 60 cities and towns in the state that have taken advantage of community power, and in doing so lowered electricity supply rates for customers across their territories and created some more energy options. We're here on behalf of Community Power Coalition New Hampshire. We're a nonprofit that was created by counties and municipalities in the state. We provide shared services across our over 60 city, town, and county members. So I'm going to walk through some of this material. Just a quick overview. Community power is made possible by New Hampshire legislature under RSA 53E. It allows a county or a city or a town to become what's called the default electricity supplier. Basically, you can bulk purchase electricity on behalf of residents and businesses on a voluntary basis. The utility company is always going to own the grid. Eversource is going to own the grid, deliver that power, send the customer the bill, but you can choose where you're buying that power from.
Right.
And then this can result in savings or other choices for the customers. Voluntary programs, no one has to participate. Anyone can always opt out. It's just adding more choices. And there's no tax impact or tax revenue required. Briefly, I'll just speak to the coalition's membership. So our nonprofit incorporated in October of 2021, so 3 years ago. And the market really launched in spring of 2023. As I mentioned, we're currently serving over 60 cities and towns, about 170,000 electric customers and accounts. And the membership represents between 30 and 40% of the state population. So there's really good buying power throughout the coalition in the market. And we've seen the results of that in tens of millions of dollars in savings for customers since launching the program by lowering their supply rates relative to Eversource or the other utility providers.
So I'm assuming you guys, you're negotiating directly with them to reduce for a reduced rate for the coalition. Is that basically what?
Essentially, it's perhaps more precise would be to say we are managing a portfolio. So it's active portfolio management where we are buying different power contracts from different suppliers and managing those actively over time.
I get you.
Yeah. And that's part of the result of the savings there. Our board of directors is made up, or it's elected by the members. So our county members and our city and town members have representatives to our annual meeting. They elect the board. Our board is folks from city councils and county commissions and select boards and things of that nature. So very, focused on transparency, accountability, subject to the right to know law. And then beneath that sort of community governance, we have the staff. So Jackson, I'm community energy advisor. Madeline's our communications coordinator. I'm director of member services, but we also have folks in project program development, regulatory, legislative, power resources, that sort of thing, and a number of service providers. Our CEO, Brian Kalman, was the vice president of power supply at New Hampshire Electric Co-op, which is a nonprofit utility here in the state. And then there's a slide there showing our staff team. But perhaps more interesting to you all, I'm moving on to what would be slide 6, which has a little map of Strafford County. So the status in this part of the state, 4 municipalities in the county have launched municipal community power programs: Dover, Barrington, Durham, Somersworth, and Lee. So they're up and running. They have, the program is live. There's some rate savings for customers and some more choices there. And then you can see on the right side of the slide, the list of towns that are have not implemented programs, but could readily benefit from a county program if they would choose to participate along with the county, if the county wanted to move forward with this. One of the great things about the county model is it can really streamline benefits for the towns. So instead of each small town having to go through its own approvals and regulatory and administrative burden, the county can sort of facilitate that for the benefit of all. And just to be a little more specific, I'll talk about slides 7 and 8 here. A typical process for a community to implement one of these programs is becoming a member of our organization if you'd like to work with us. We have a joint powers agreement, and that is our agreement among and between all the members on our bylaws, corporate governance, how our board is structured, et cetera, et cetera. So to become a member, the commissioners would adopt that agreement. And that's there's no cost or sort of commitment at that point, but it's access to the membership and the services. Real commitment would come post approvals. You would have to go through an approval process, including public hearings, or a committee being formed, holding a public hearings on a plan we would develop with you, and then your county delegation would have to act and adopt that plan that's required under the state law. Once you go through all that, then is sort of the decision point. Do the commissioners want to then actually execute a contract to launch?
Now, what happens with the communities that are already in the coalition that are under the county's umbrella? How does that work?
Yeah, so the legislators were thankfully clear on that, and they've got language in there that says municipal aggregation or municipal county community power program will take priority or precedence. So your implementation of a program would not affect Dover or any of the other communities that have already gone about it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so, again, like imagining how this would work, let's say you went through those approvals. You said you wanted to stand up the program, you launch Strafford County Community Power. At first, nothing would immediately change, but every electric customer in the county now has another choice. They could now opt into your supply program, which might have discounts and savings relative to Eversource. So there's a new option for everybody in the county like that, which is good. There's a second piece to this, and that's if, let's say, the town of, or the city of Rochester wanted to team up and work with the county. Rochester City Council could vote and say, we want Strafford County Community Power to be our default. In that event, that's sort of how a typical program works is, we notify all customers, we would send a letter to every single electric account, say, you're joining Strafford Community Power, here are your options, here's the rates, here's the savings. If you don't want to participate, you can opt out, no problem. But in 30 days, we will automatically enroll all of the customers into the program. So it's the new default.
Yeah.
So that's available to all of the other towns. A select board or a city council could make that decision to say, we're going to switch en masse the customer base into the Strafford program.
How much of an advantage would that to occur? Say, for instance, Dover decided to join with the county as an example, but does it give it any? Does it help with the negotiating process on your end? I would imagine with negotiating rates. If you have so many customers.
So one of the core principles is pool purchasing power,
Right.
As we talked about earlier. So for Dover, given that, Dover has its own municipal aggregation at this point, the impact would be that Dover likely may get more competitive rates in the future because there's more participation through the county, which is growing that total pool purchasing power overall.
Yeah. Scale matters. Scale is beneficial. And if we flip forward a little bit, you can see rate history. So that's over on 11 and 12. So right now, customers on community power rate, just a typical residential household is paying 8.6 cents a kilowatt hour. That's this sort of blue line in the middle of that sort of full table. Granite Basic, 24%, 8.6 cents. That's relative to Eversource is up at 10.4 cents. So there's decent savings, about 17% savings off the Eversource rate. And you can see below there's a history. The red line in that line chart is the community power rate relative to those blue lines being the utility rates over the past 4 or 5 rate periods.
How do these rates compare to some of the other ones that are in the market, like Direct Energy and those other ones?
They're typically competitive, like more competitive than Eversource. So, yeah, there's no sort of guarantee that it would be cheaper than those, but it is typically and historically we have had cheaper rates than the alternative default. We're not necessarily directly competing with Direct Energy on a customer by customer basis.
So are those companies, and Direct is one I know there's several of them out there. Sure. Are they basically doing the same thing you're doing? Is that they're managing a portfolio, or are they just negotiating? What are they doing compared to you?
They are managing a portfolio, but this is a different approach because, it's not just providing power supply. We're connecting government folks from across the state to, increase co-production on energy issues. We're providing actual strategic guidance to communities and counties on how to handle some of these things going forward. And one of the main distinguishing factors for a customer that's participating with CPC&H versus a broker is a lot of broker contracts have some tricky language in there that, you know, will basically provide a customer a teaser rate that's lower for a first amount of time. They don't realize their contract has lapsed, and now all of a sudden their rate spikes way up and they have no idea. One of the main, you know, sort of points for this is that we're trying to keep rates not only competitive, but very consistent. So you don't have these price spike shocks that occur for the customer base.
One of the other things that happens is that these are all contracts, alternatives are contracts. So if you exit a contract, there's usually a penalty for doing that.
Yep.
So that's one of the really attractive things about Community Power Coalition. You can just come and go as you wish. There's no penalty to it. It's just, you know, it'll be a delay switching to the next billing cycle, but that's it. And so it's a very, you know, it's non-intrusive. There's no bait and switch involved.
Yeah.
It's all up front. It's everything that's happening. It's published on the website. You know, it's all member driven by, you know, representatives from all the communities. So it's about as open a process. It's a governmental entity. So, you know, even the meeting minutes, you know, are public to everybody. So
what's the actual legal status of this? Is it a nonprofit? Is it?
Yeah, it's a little interesting. We're both a 501c4 nonprofit, but we are also, we're a joint powers agency and we're a governmental instrumentality. So our structure is we're created by municipal governments of New Hampshire, and we're an extension of the authorities that the legislature gave the municipal governments of New Hampshire and county governments.
Okay.
And just want to emphasize one point, following up on the questions you asked. So like, there's no need for Dover to change to the county or any of the three members. But the county, you know, joining makes it so much easier for the towns to, they wouldn't have to go through the process that, you know, we went through in Dover, which is not demanding, but is a process. But you just eliminate that process for towns that I know Rollinsford struggled with. They're very interested in going initially. And it was just said, we just don't have the time. We have brand new energy commission.
They have the bandwidth.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna fit in our, you know.
Well, the other thing too is them small communities. First of all, you gotta have people that are willing to serve on a board, and you gotta, you know, they just don't have the bodies to do these types of things.
Right. So with this slide here where it has the operating ones and then the county ready, you've got two that are in red. What's the difference there, Farmington and Rollinsford as opposed?
Those are, my understanding is those two communities have gone through the process partially with another private broker, a separate entity. So there are a couple of brokers out there that do this, and they've kind of gone a bit of the way through that, but they haven't been able to launch as of yet. So I just marked them out as they have a relationship with another party, I believe. That doesn't mean they couldn't change course if there were other options.
Yeah, they could. And,
Right.
and someone like Rollinsford may be more interested, right? Like Bill was talking about, if there was sort of a county ready model to move
Right.
into, so.
As I know, I've met with Rollins and Selectmen a couple of times, but to discuss solar projects, or if they were interested in trying to do on some land that they had. They just didn't have the capacity to
Right.
pull it off. They wanted the county to get involved in that. And we kind of postponed that discussion recently. I mean, they just got some other issues they're dealing with over there with this land that they've got, this 50 acres. They wanted to do, they were talking about maybe tying into the hospital or something, so. But it's just sitting there, so, yeah, right.
Just a quick question. We went out to bid and have a contract for, electrical services for a period of time. Obviously, we need to honor that contract. How does that all fit into this?
Yeah, so your county facilities would not have to participate off the bat in the program if you didn't want to because of another contract,
Yeah,
right?
existing contract.
Exactly, but when that contract period ends, CBCNH is now offering, or would be offering through the county program, an annual rate you could take advantage of that could align with your fiscal year, and those have been, quite competitive. Again, same thing, no binding contract. You could leave if you wanted to. A lot of municipalities right now are very interested in taking on this annual rate, and we're starting that enrollment process with a number of them. I'd say there's probably 10 different conversations going on about that now.
So we went through the process and signed up. We're not well, we couldn't,
Yeah, we wouldn't be in violation,
well, we'd be in violation of our current agreement.
but we wouldn't, they wouldn't, but we
But it
would be a
would
customer.
still make it easier for other entities to join if they chose to, if we signed up.
Correct.
Even though we wouldn't be able to immediately implement it.
So one example would be Dover. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Bill, but
Go ahead.
you know, in Dover, there was a lapse period, and when that contract, so we launched the Dover program before the contract had ended. Once a competitive supply contract ended for Dover's municipal facilities, at that point in time, we rolled them into the program. And I can say between the municipal facilities and the school district, granted it's a different scale, the municipal facilities have saved about 20% versus what the school district was getting through a broker deal.
So what is the cost to the county? I know there's a responsibility to get the approvals and all that, but after we're up and running, is there a cost to the county, and what is the commitment at that point in terms of, you know, manpower and stuff, if any?
So good questions. There is not a cost. The cost of the program is paid through the electric supply rate. So customers that are participating, they pay their bill, half goes to Eversource, the other half pays for energy supply, and we collect what we need to buy power, pay for operating costs, and to have healthy reserves out of that. So no direct cost to the county. In terms of staff time, a couple things I want us to hit on is sort of process, what is required of the county and what are the obligations. And then maybe we can talk a little bit about future project program type stuff.
Mhm.
But so process wise, the legislation says you have to establish a committee. And there's a fairly, at this point, light lift because everything is in template form. We've gone through this with many towns, a number of counties, it's ready to go. If you do have to convene a committee, it's a good forum to then invite the towns in and say, we're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna have public hearings, we wanna tell you what we're doing. Maybe you wanna join our committee, or maybe you just wanna go back to your select board and let them know this is happening and invite them in. So there's a little bit of, booking at least 2 public hearings. We'll provide you the materials, we'll staff them, we can present alongside you, but there's some time commitment there. Then there's the delegation, so prepping your delegation, getting on the agenda, having them take that action. And then there is the cost sharing agreement and the service contract, and that's after all the approvals, you want to launch, having the commissioners and your staff review those contracts, understand them, we'll talk through them with you, make sure you understand everything that's in there. Once it's up and running, there is really the purpose of our organization is to take the administrative burden off of you. So you would appoint a member representative, and we have an annual membership meeting, and that's when we elect the board. So at minimum, we expect, and again, we don't have 100% participation at those meetings, but you show up once a year at an annual meeting and you cast a vote for the board, and it's a good get to know the community and all that. Beyond that, it's up to you. So we have members that sit on our finance committee or our, member engagement committee. We have members that sit on the board, obviously. So those folks are spending more time. That's not a requirement, but it's an option.
I would just say the process should be it was easy for us when we were early in, and it'll be a lot easier for anyone that takes it on later, because you can go look at what 60 communities have done in, 2 other counties and take theirs, say, oh, wow, that looks good to me or not, and so it's really pretty painless process, I think.
In the next couple of days, we'll have meetings with those counties.
I was just thinking that.
And I wonder
It's
if
our county convention, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
So it's
So
Omni this year, right?
we'll,
We'll have a chance to talk to the other 2 counties to see what's happening. I mean, I think I don't have any objection to it. It seems like a good idea if it's all mostly voluntarily. It's just another avenue for the consumer to take advantage of rates and in some cases lock in municipality costs for a year, because we've got a lot of, I don't know how you guys, you're in the business, but energy flow.
Oh, yeah.
right.
Production flow.
Keep an eye out for our colleague Andrew Hatch. He's going to be representing us at the county conference. You can't miss him. He'll have a bunch of materials. He's got a good British accent. He's a good guy. But I wonder, Madeline, would you maybe just speak a little bit about, so public engagement's a big part of this, the public hearings, outreach, some of the websites or print materials stuff that we do?
Yeah, so as the communications coordinator, I spend a lot of time developing materials and outreach for our actual members and supply customers. So I manage all of the websites there. Every operating community has their own website, so you're able to look at Cheshire County Community Power, Merrimack County Community Power, all the way to Dover Community Power, and we're required at minimum 30 days before new rates begin. And we change our rates every 6 months to match the utilities. So I'm in charge of making sure all of those rates are always up to date, so customers can very easily go and see to make sure they're getting the most competitive rate possible. Also kind of putting together presentations for public information sessions. So when their programs launch, we'll host at least one information session where people can bring their energy bill, ask all the questions they need, learn how to select their different energy options, participate, or if they don't want to participate. I also create logos. So every community who's a member of the coalition gets their own community power logo, kind of match it off your town seal or any kind of landmark just to match with the identity of the community. And so it's a really big focus on engagement and education so people feel very informed when they're making their decisions for their energy supply.
And one of the nice things about the websites are that that's not only a place to find information. If you want to change your status, if you want to change to, you want to bow out and go back to Eversource, it's a couple of clicks there. If you want to change and increase the amount of renewable energy you get, it's, right there, simple, super easy to use.
So this program in no way conflicts with a homeowner that has solar power for a good portion of their operation. Is that correct?
That's a great question. So those customers just at present would not be switched in and they would not participate in the program. Just the way it works is they continue along with their utility.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Sorry? Yeah, well, it is a bug, not a feature. So the intention of the legislature was that anyone in the community with solar on their roof could also be a part of the community power program. Maybe they sell a little excess power back to that program. There's some technical and sort of utility regulatory challenges there that we're working through. So that will change. Eventually we'll be able to welcome in all the solar customers, but for now they're sort of on hold and they're just not, there's no harm. They're not affected in any way.
Yeah, because we did call, I live in Sounds, so we did call when we got the mailer,
Nice.
but, we weren't eligible because
That's
of,
right.
Yeah, it's a top priority for the goal.
Yeah, we have a huge solar array.
Good for you.
Well, that's what happens when you have a pool with a pool heater and.
I just put my panels up last weekend, so haven't flipped the switch yet, but got my panels up in Concord Community Power. I live just started, so I'm gonna get community power for a couple months and then I'm gonna switch out to do the solar.
And ours has been about a year.
But we're working hard on that.
Yes.
Well, I'd love to switch over.
Yeah.
I'd love to switch over, but we just, we were just told we couldn't, so I was hoping there was progress being made. Sorry to ask a personal question in the middle of the commissioners.
No, but it is a question because some of the, people that are most interested in, doing better with electricity are going to be putting solar on the roof. So it's an area that, our committee and we have a director of regulatory legislative affairs. We have, a consultant attorney. We're looking to hire a lobbyist shortly. And we've already started developing, relationships. And we have good relationships, I think, in the legislature already. The first bill that we took forward was actually ended up being sponsored in its amended version by the chair of the Science, Tech, and Energy Committee in the House, who's obviously a Republican. So we're bullish that we'll get there. Timing is always the issue.
I'm happy with I'm happy with the solar, but if there's, obviously if there's another way of,
Yeah, it'd be great to pair them together, right?
yeah, it'd be a great opportunity.
And here we're, at the county, we're looking at pursuing solar
Yeah,
energy
we've
as
just been
well.
approved for,
The next steps
the next steps and,
in our
Are you working
technical
through
assistance.
the conservation easement process?
no, that part, I don't think it's gonna be an issue. I think we acquired a federal grant for about, let's just say $80,000. But, like with any federal grant, there's just all these hoops you have to jump through, and so
It's
we've
been
been,
a slow process.
yeah, it's been a slow
Yeah.
process. We've been working on this since, July.
Slow,
I
it's
think
like
we
a
applied
sales
for it
pitch.
in February.
Yeah, I was in
Technical assistance.
I was in Rockingham helping, and
Yeah.
I'd pull over to the side of the road to participate in the phone call, so, but we've been sending them data, and, I just today signed the agreement that we've been approved, so. We'll see how that
We'll
develops,
see what the next steps are.
yeah.
Have you already submitted this Dover question interest here? Have you submitted to interconnection queue already?
I don't think so.
What is that?
Well, I'll call why.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I guess we probably should talk at some point, Henry, about the steps. I think we've gone over 10,000 feet, the process and stuff, so maybe I'll reach out with you and we'll figure out the steps are for us to mirror what steps the other county's taking, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, it's convenient, the county convention's this Monday.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
So I talked to
Yeah,
Andrew.
Good timing.
That's,
Yeah.
that's perfect timing.
Yeah, and really the first thing would be, I did send along this joint powers agreement, and it would be consideration of that. And if the commissioners want to adopt that, you become a member, and then basically we're at your disposal.
Okay. All right.
So that would be number one, but yeah, definitely chat with the other counties and, see if you can find Andrew up in the Mount Albany.
I know we don't do anything for the towns, but
Yeah.
this would be an opportunity.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a little inside humor. But, this would be an opportunity, so.
We talked about this in Rollins for that great length, and everyone seems.
Well, this
to be
might
really
make it
confused.
easier.
Yeah.
Make it
Wrong.
easy for all, Matt, Barry,
Yeah.
If we do that, and it might,
northern part of the
when they
county.
see the possibility, because obviously we use a lot of electricity.
Mhm.
I mean, with the nursing home and the jail, and, we use a lot.
Mm.
And, I think that while we might not be able to switch immediately because of commitments that we have, knowing that this is coming, might encourage, sellers to, consider that, in their future rates.
Were you gonna talk about some of the new programs that?
You wanna just quickly talk through those?
Yeah, so I guess I'll mention briefly on the solar side, that's one of the advantages of working with us is you get access to some of our technical expertise. I've been involved with projects on the municipal side. We also have Mark Bollinger, who's the director of programs and projects. He had, a 20-year career at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. Just incredibly bright when it comes to working in the renewable energy sector. And I mentioned the annual rates that we're offering. There's a couple of other opportunities now that are available through the coalition. One is for folks in Eversource territory, which this would qualify. We are looking to sign up people with a group net metering arrangement if they're interested, which is basically that you become someone who commits your load to a solar project that's built elsewhere within Eversource territory. You may be familiar with the concept. It's really painless process, and the advantage is you get 1 to 1.5 cent credit that's applied to your bills per kilowatt hour enrolled. So it's effectively lowering your electricity costs, and you're still supporting the growth of distributed energy in the state of New Hampshire. So that's something we're looking at subscribing people for. Another side to this too is if you do have your own solar at some point, we're now authorized as a coalition to provide rec aggregation services, which means we can purchase renewable energy certificates to people as another option out there. Previously, there was really only one main rec aggregation service available to folks in this region. And so we're hoping to be able to provide people a higher level of compensation for those renewable energy certificates if they do actually want to sell them. So that could help the financial situation with a future solar array.
And those are available now.
Correct. Yeah, we have the enrollment form kind of still being produced, but yes, we are authorized to do it and it's in progress.
There's a lot going on in that section of the world.
There is.
It's like, I've been bombarded, by like 30 solar companies that are trying to.
I can
across the
imagine,
country.
right?
Especially when they used to have, when they had the first had the private sector, tax, deal for the private sector to invest, for 30% tax
Right.
credits and everything else. I mean, I
Right.
was just like, everybody won the lottery was looking to,
Yeah.
they would have to pay federal taxes. Oh my God, it just, I'm telling you, I was inundated. I was gonna send all those calls to Robert, but he decided he wasn't gonna look. All right, so why don't we'll get back to you, I guess. You guys got any questions, Robert? You got any questions?
Sounds
Yeah,
very promising.
It does.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, glad to hear.
We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you very
And
much.
we're obviously well familiar with the principals at Merrimack and Cheshire. So, we're,
Glad to hear it.
you've been around, you get to know everybody.
So let me try and give you a call. So and tell you why you already applied. Confusion. Yes, there's no downside to doing that.
It's ever so much. So we do have.
Probably next week.
That's okay, I'll be gone Monday and Tuesday,
Obviously.
but I'll be back to work Wednesday morning.
Thanks.
That's the cell, it's just,
Okay.
my office phone rings through to the cell, but sometimes it only rings like twice, and I can't grab it quick enough.
See ya.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for providing us.
Thank
Get that going for, my house, come on, yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Rex?
I'm just teasing. Thank you.
No.
Do you mind if you have that? We'll put it in there.
All righty, I got some scheduling conflicts here. So we want to take up, the MIS bid waiver. Yeah,
Oh.
Ray had mentioned to us.
Mr. Chairman, can we delay it? I left the documents with Janet out. I'm a little
Yeah.
discombobulated.
Yeah, let's just,
Okay.
yeah, feel good with that.
Oh, Paul's here. I'm sorry. Never mind.
There you go.
Paul can do it.
Standing
I'm sorry.
Patiently waiting.
I didn't see.
I was like saying, okay, Paul's been around here.
I'm very sorry, Paul.
All right.
I didn't see you come in.
No,
I thought you were
Kind of like
talking about.
MIS guy just kind of sneaks in and get out. Yes, he
Yeah,
has.
look at him, looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On vacation, now he's back to deal with this, so go ahead, Paul, we're gonna let you go to it.
So I'm looking for a waiver to bid on the wireless. We talked about this
Yeah,
in the budget piece,
we did.
that the current controls on Mayru, they're out of business. They've been acquired.
To us.
So, but Fortinet is our firewall, and Fortinet within the firewall, it's kind of a free thing. Instead of getting controls, the firewall will do all the controlling. So what we have to do is get the access points. So we're always up to date that way. The new access points are tri-band, so it's the latest. The FCC there's the 2.5 wireless and the 5 gigahertz, and the FCC opened up the 6. So these are all set that if we get some equipment that needs that, we're all set on
Until
that.
4 gets blown out by somebody, right?
They're too big. I don't know. if,
Yeah. Yeah,
But
So what Paul's saying is it's consistent with the other products that we have. And we wouldn't have to do any changing other than,
Now, is this run by, is this a sole source individual? They don't have like multiple distributors or something that
No, it is one of those where you go through the partner so that you're stuck.
is not like
With the
Motorola.
partner.
Things like-
Yeah,
some Motorola
and they
stuff.
really haven't. What I've noticed is with the partner, they pretty much just stick with what Fortinet gave the price, but they provide the support. So being that we have the firewall, it's gonna save us a lot of money, and we just have to do the APs. Current stuff is out of date. If it dies, if these controllers die, we're done. There's no parts.
Yeah,
If we were to go out to bid, we would have to get Fortinet as, like a replacement for Fortinet.
you'd have to start all over.
Start all
Yeah.
over, which means buying controls, backup controllers.
Gotcha.
and all that pieces.
And that's where the cost savings is?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I think it's a great idea.
okay. Well, I don't have,
Do them one at a time, boss.
yeah, yeah. All right, well, we'll do the full. Pouring that one first, I guess, right?
That's the critical one that I need to get.
What's the
done
amount of
first.
money we're talking about here? I don't have my budget, but I don't have the budget that's on my desk. You know, you remember what it is?
It's,
Well, that was all rolled into one amount.
Yeah.
I mean, we had them,
yeah, it was set up, I think the Fortinet, it was under the 100. And
We'll get the document.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna cost that. I've purchased some
yeah,
to just make sure it works. As a trial, make sure that it works with the fire, with the current firewall and everything's fine, so.
Which one is it?
Wireless.
Yes, it's on here.
they screwed up, but I was going to keep it as it is. Of course, talking to them like 30, push them off. I get some other people come.
That's
Push them into the homeless shelter people.
Oh, yes, you're at the bottom.
That's where we belong.
This is server. They got a high staff.
Wireless right here. Cause that is being,
I just want to tie a number up to.
so,
110.
Say it right.
Yeah.
So what's the number
Up to 110. 110,000.
Okay, all right, so the 110 on that one. All right, so can I get a motion from you when
I'll make the motion to accept.
you do, okay, up to 110,
Yes.
4 on that? Okay, I'm a big believer. All right,
No,
second.
second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
Okay, let's be waiver, so it's required a roll call, Commissioner Roll.
Yes.
Commissioner Watts and myself, yeah, I vote unanimous. Okay, let's go to the next one, Paul. We got the phone system, right, which we got AVL, whatever they call them, whatever they call them, so.
Right, so Avaya is
Avaya, yeah.
is our phone system for the county. This phone upgrade. Well, one, it will do a software upgrade. There's about 9 servers that control the whole phone system. And then there are hardware pieces in the rest home is the main unit. We have one in the courthouse and one in the jail that all communicate. It's that communication goes back to the rest home and to get to First Light, because they're actually a phone carrier. They're currently going over T1 cards to make that connection to First Light's equipment, which is legacy equipment that's been put in there before I ever got here.
Yeah, it was Tony, I remember we did.
Yeah, it's very, very old. That First Light doesn't have any parts. Last time we went down, we were without outside lines for, I think it was about a week or over a week with no outside lines, because First Light was trying to find parts. So to eliminate that, we can upgrade this software and we can go with SIP, which basically means we'll be fiber all the way, and we'll get rid of all that legacy equipment. The exception to bid is because it's integrated with our current phone system, There may be someone else that could get or do the Avaya piece, but currently our knock is with Carousel for any support. They've built the whole system, so it's kind of saying, all right, now if there's somebody else who's gonna start doing this.
Well, they're gonna point the fingers at each other and we have a problem.
So trying to keep it consistent, so that's my,
And what's the bid waiver on that one?
Phone upgrade, $136,000.
All right, I move to waive the bid for the Avaya phone system up to $136,000 for all the reasons listed on this page here.
Yeah, we'll just attach those to the minutes.
Yeah.
That's okay, it's a second.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any, roll call, Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Roll.
Yes.
Myself, yes, the vote is unanimous. Okay, let's move on to the switch upgrade. I know that was a biggie.
yeah, this is the main
Main,
switch that connects all of our servers, the storage system. So it's the big switch for all the fiber links.
Yeah.
To put everything together. That has reached end of life a while ago, and it's on borrowed time. That's another one that you're not gonna be able to, we would have to replace it, so I'm looking to replace these. It's not doing the routing anymore, so I can scale back what that switch did, because our routing is now done by the firewall also. Our system right now has been Extreme for the switches. So looking for who could provide this, you really have Cisco, Extreme, and HP are the big ones. HP doesn't make switches that can handle all this fiber. So we have Cisco and Extreme. Cisco's way out of our price range. So to keep things consistent, I'd like to stick with the Extreme.
okay, what's the number we have in the budget for that?
So that's the core switch
That's the
replacement,
core
correct?
switch,
$117,000.
Okay.
That'll connect all the fiber that we have in the complex,
Correct.
finally, okay.
Alrighty. Your motion, yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'll make
Waive the
motion, wait, I'll make a motion to waive the bid, up to 117 then.
Second.
Thank you.
bid. Okay. Alrighty, any further discussion? Not hearing Commissioner Roll, then a roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Watson, myself, yes, the vote unanimous. Okay,
Last one.
Last one is hopefully the easiest. It's to upgrade the server. It's the operating system of the servers. Currently, some of our servers are 2012 and some are 2016. So to get these, the end of life for the security patches will be October of 26. That's for the ones that are 2016. So to keep our security up to date and patches, we need to upgrade the operating systems. It's Microsoft. You can only buy the licenses from Microsoft and the software. The other parts of that is after we upgrade the server itself, there's going to be some third-party stuff, such as the jail uses OMS, so it's going to be that company, GTL, that's going to be responsible for migrating that data. So those are specific to the departments that are using that software.
I know we talked about all this stuff when we put the budget together. What's the number on that one? Diane?
That one, server upgrade is 180,000. That's worth it.
Okay, Chair, Commissioner Watson.
I move to waive the bid to update the operating system for the server. The amount of up to 180,000 for all the reasons listed on this paper.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
Yes.
Myself, yes, that vote is unanimous. All right, well, you're off to see the wizard.
So that'll finally
Thank
bring
you.
us up to date.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the window, behind the curtain here, okay?
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to that guy.
I
behind the-
snuck in there, I didn't even know he was there.
Did you want copy, right?
Yeah, I have one, I know on my desk. Wow.
Chair, all these reasons, we attach to the minutes.
Yeah.
regarding our bid waivers. Okay. All right, Diana, let's put item 2. Sign the band documents. We have to sign
These
that?
are your bond anticipation note,
Oh,
documents based on the, bid award from yesterday from Northway Bank.
While you ladies and gentlemen are signing
You
now,
like the way.
I could just let you know that Janet's surgery was a resounding success.
great.
I communicated, her husband communicated with us after the surgery, and she and I had a little jesting conversation in the afternoon. I said I'd see her in the morning, but somehow I don't think that's.
She was out of the hospital so fast. Why
That's the way I was.
why didn't they just do it at her house or something? At least they had a mobile cart and bring it in. I mean, that's going to be the next thing you see, right?
And mine
I
was
was
the same.
shocked.
That mine's the same thing.
That was crazy.
She was the first surgery in the morning, and once you come out of anesthesia and you walk, then they do, you know.
The thing for her that took the longest is she needed to wait for PT to come in.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and I think they were just scheduled, they were busy, but yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Now the healing begins, so. Wrong business or something. Maybe I'll start a new company.
Here's the thing, I had my yearly follow-up and so I was talking, I know one of the nurses who had a family member at Riverside, and she gave me a hug and asked me how things were going, and I was talking to her, and Janet was saying, "That's my boss in the other room." We both had appointments at the same time.
Yeah, between your hip and his leg. Good. He has a leg. Well, there was one day I walked into the front office here and Ray you had just had your surgery. George was dealing with his knee. Peter Schmidt had just had his hip surgery. And then, Nick Tumpus came in. He had some, and it was. I don't want to be a member of that fund.
It's an infirmary.
It was. I'm like, what? What's going on here? Technology is amazing. Yeah, she'll have a lot of relief. She was really.
She was in
miserable.
tremendous pain.
But she was here
every day.
She was a real trooper.
She started using a walker, right up until.
She's like, oh, this makes my life so much easier.
Well, while Robert's signing the band documents, while we're signing,
A lot of tabs.
I know.
Sorry.
We should be, we'll sign it inside.
There's always,
I keep
I
going.
think they add more documents
I know.
every single
I know.
time.
We got any old or new business we need to discuss?
Not that I can think of now.
Okay. We do have these minutes that we gotta get a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion because I did read them to approve both
Second.
the,
Okay, get a motion to approve, second all the minutes.
yes, thank you.
All right. All those in favor of adoption?
Yes.
Say the same way. Those opposed? Okay, the vote's unanimous on that. All right, we get questions and comments from the public regarding the agenda. Morning, Susan, you got anything for us this morning?
Part of the agenda, yeah.
Well. Okay, so I have a question about the sheriff's office, and we just recently elected a new sheriff, and I know that Joe has, I think, had his 70th birthday.
That's correct.
Does the new sheriff get sworn in because it was a vacancy, or do we wait till
No.
everybody else? Because sometimes, like when a selectman leaves early and you appoint somebody in at the next election, and then they get sworn in after all the hoopla of having to, they have to wait so many days. Does this work a little differently here?
Yeah, and time-wise, it can't be done. They'd have to advertise for the vacancy for the sheriff, even though she's elected. Then they'd have to accept applications, which I doubt if there would be any, but then the delegation would have to set up a subcommittee. And then we'd have to call them.
Because she's.
Yep.
So Joe continues on until
Um,
that point, or is he?
That's correct.
He's
Done.
staying on like a CEO.
Yeah,
And Major Burke has resigned. Joe's resigned, but will be staying till Christmas. Captain Party is, kind of the person in charge of the day-to-day operations in cooperation with Joe McGivern on leading us to,
That actual transfer that happens in.
beginning of January. Yeah, I looked at it and logistically, there's just not enough time, to put notices in the paper and.
Yeah, go through all that process.
But you're right, it does, but the statute wasn't set up for this kind of thing,
This whole thing has been
yeah,
weird.
yeah, you're right.
So, just a question I have.
All right, so, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
And last week, the commissioners did authorize the waiving of the bid for the sewer.
right.
Okay, I'm like 2 weeks behind.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that, that was our critical issue, but Paul was not available last week, so we did waive the bid on the sewer line.
So who got the bid?
I can't remember the name of the company, but it's the same company
That
that,
did all the camera work and.
Right. absolutely. And we're making arrangements. There has to be some residents that'll need to be relocated. While they do for about 4 or 5 days while they do the, drilling.
All right.
How are you doing with COVID over there? I mean,
31 cases,
Wow.
even though everybody's vaccinated.
Yeah.
So much for the vaccination.
I won't.
Yeah.
Get my first shot, I'm not soon, I have to.
So,
I can
the
shoot.
thing is, nobody's sick.
High school kids.
There's no
Shut
temperatures.
off for an hour already, so.
But they're just testing.
They're testing positive. No one went to the hospital, no one, we do use,
I gotta get somebody from upstairs and.
As best we can.
Who's next on that list.
but it's, how hard it is, like at the dementia unit, it's really difficult.
How long does that take?
We
10,
do
15
use
minutes.
Paxlovid.
Then I gotta meet
for
the
as
with the homeless
many-
people talk about.
The thing is, Paxlovid can't be crushed, so any resident who
Yeah.
can't take
I
medication
think it'll take long.
in its whole, can't use Paxlovid. But I think about 90% of the
I
residents
don't know where that is.
use Paxlovid. So that seems to work out well.
I. Oh, okay. Okay.
Probably attorney would be community corrections, people of them will look there. That would be great, thanks, Diane. All right. So we all set here now, so we can move to the next. Three things we get going on here.
Well, no, just going to non-public.
Yeah, we gotta go to non-public,
Make the motion to go into non-public.
okay.
Yeah, Jim's supposed to
In contract negotiation,
dive
yeah.
into our personnel issues.
Okay, we got a motion moving non-public, second, okay, roll call, Commissioner Rolo,
Yes.
Commissioner Lawrence, and
Yes.
myself, yes, okay, the vote's unanimous, Commissioner will adjourn to non-public
Oh,
session.
and there's no meeting next week because you.
That's correct.
Correct.
Doing your
Thing.
Yeah.